Welcome to day one of the Strategic HR Sprint. Over the next 5 days, we're going to spend around 10 to 15 minutes each day helping you become more strategic and more confident about being strategic in your HR role. Each day, I'll be sharing a short podcast episode that you can either watch or listen to, along with a practical worksheet and an AI prompt to help you put what you've learnt into practice. If you're not already signed up to receive the daily emails that I'm sending out, which have the links to the episode, the AI prompt, and the worksheets, you can sign up to them for free by visiting brightskyhr.co.uk/sprint. And I'll make sure there's a link in the show notes and the YouTube description for you. Even if you've come across this episode way into the future when the sprint has finished, you can still access all of those resources through that link. And I hope I don't look like I am melting. I'm recording this in the middle of a heat wave and it is absolutely boiling in this room. So please forgive me if I look like I'm going to melt into a puddle at any point. If we haven't met before, hello, it's great to have you here. I'm Faye Wallace, an executive and career coach who specialises in supporting HR and people professionals to have successful and fulfilling careers. As well as being the host of this HR Coffee Time podcast, I'm also the creator of the Essential HR Planner and the Inspiring HR Leadership Programme. Now, focusing on this sprint, I know that we'll all be approaching it from different places. So you might already feel quite confident about being strategic. Perhaps you're just joining because you're a bit curious, or you'd like a bit of a refresher on some things, or you're hoping you'll hear some new ideas you might not have come across before, or you might be sprinting along with your team and you want to be supporting them. Or it could be that actually you feel a lot less confident. You feel fearful when you hear the word strategic and a bit panicky because no one's ever really explained what being strategic means properly to you, or you just don't believe that you're a strategic person. No matter how you're arriving at this sprint, whether you are confident or you're not at all, or you're somewhere in the middle, I really hope you're going to get a lot from it. It's here to help you no matter how you feel about being strategic. Today's episode is all about helping you start the week with confidence in your ability to be strategic. And I'm going to start by sharing something with you that completely changed the way that I think about strategy. If you've listened to HR Coffee Time before, or you've maybe attended one of my strategy workshops, or you've taken part in my Inspiring HR Leadership Programme, you'll probably know that I'm a huge fan of The Strategy Book by Dr. Max McEwen. The reason I love this book is because it makes strategy feel much less mysterious. It shows us that strategy isn't something that's reserved for CEOs or senior leaders or people with MBAs. It's something that all of us can do. Instead, Dr. Max McEwen describes strategy as being about shaping the future. And there's one passage from the book that I come back to time and time again. I have read this so many times and I'm going to share it with you now. So he writes, "You have already used strategy to get a lot of what you have. You got a job, or you got an education to get a job. You might have saved money for a holiday or a home. Maybe you romanced your partner, wife, or husband. You did something in the past to try to get something better in the future." I love the way he explains this because it reminds us that being strategic isn't about having a particular job title, it's about deliberately shaping the future. And when you think about it like that, you have almost certainly been thinking and acting strategically for years, even when you were a toddler. But more recently than being a toddler, perhaps when it comes to your personal life, you did one of the things that he talked about. You moved house, you learned a new skill to get a different job or a promotion, you organised an event, or you overcame something that required a lot of planning and persistence. All of those things involve shaping the future. The thing is, we don't usually think of them as strategic, but they are. So we overlook the strategic thinking that we've already demonstrated. And if we don't recognise it, it's very difficult to feel confident about it. So that's why today's activity is all about finding evidence that you already have strategic capability. I've created a worksheet to guide you through that with a reflection in it. I'd like you to think about one occasion when you deliberately worked towards a future outcome that you wanted to achieve. It could be something from work, or it can be something from your personal life if you find it difficult to think of a work related thing. The worksheet will ask you to reflect on the outcome that you were hoping to achieve, why it mattered to you, the actions that you took, the obstacles that you might have encountered along the way, any decisions or trade offs that you had to make, and how you adapted if things didn't go to plan. And then finally, what happened in the end. So don't worry about choosing the perfect example. It's not about that. The aim isn't to impress anyone. No one has to see this worksheet apart from you, unless you'd like to share it, of course. It's there to help you capture a real example that shows you how you went about shaping the future. So it shows you that you are strategic. So, as an example for myself, if I was to complete that worksheet, a personal example that I could give is that I planned a special birthday celebration for my husband when he had a big birthday, and I wanted to make sure it felt like a special day. There were a whole load of steps that I took and a whole load of things I had to think about to get to the point when we had the celebration for him, which thankfully he really loved. So I was very happy with how it panned out. Or work wise, if I wanted to share a work example with you, I could actually talk about this sprint. So I decided to design and create and release this sprint for you because I wanted to create something that would be really, really helpful. I know from speaking to so many HR professionals that being strategic is one of those things that they often really worry about. And I also wanted to find a way to encourage new people to come and find this podcast and hopefully enjoy it and want to listen to more of the episodes, whether that's the back catalogue or it's future ones that I release. So I thought, I'm going to combine these things together and I'll try creating this sprint. And it took me a whole lot of thought and planning and time to get to the point where, ta-da, you're now watching it. So that would be a work example. I know it's not an HR example for you, but I am sure that if you have got a work example that relates to HR, you are going to be able to think of one. And if not, of course, just remember you can always use a personal example instead. So you can download that worksheet by having signed up using the link I shared earlier and that's in the show notes. So it's brightskyhr.co.uk/sprint. And then you'll get emailed the worksheet that goes with this episode so you can work your way through it and feel confident and recognize that you have got strategic skills. And then once you've completed the worksheet, I would love you to try today's optional AI prompt. You'll copy and paste the prompt into your favorite AI tool, whether that's ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or Copilot or whatever it is. And within the prompt, you'll see that there's a space to share the example that you've identified in the worksheet. So the example of when you have shaped the future. Of course, hopefully it goes without saying, please, please, please be careful with confidentiality and the sensitivity of any data that you share with an AI tool. So make sure you're anonymizing it. Make sure you're not including anything that is confidential or sensitive to the organization that you work with. So, and when I say anonymize it, instead of saying I or me, when you're entering that prompt, you could talk about instead a person or someone in that role. And if you want to mention your organization, instead of describing or saying the name of your organization, you can say more generically. So perhaps it's instead of saying the defense company you work for, you say a defense company or a company within the defense sector, because of course we've got to be so careful with the AI tools that we're using. But don't let that put you off. Please do still give it a try. Just be really careful with this AI prompt and all the others that I'll be sharing with you throughout this sprint. So hopefully I've not put you off doing that. What you're going to do is copy and paste the prompt, add in, you'll see where to add it in, the example that you found of when you have shaped the future. And then what your AI tool is going to do is it's going to identify the strategic strengths that you have demonstrated. It's going to give you evidence from your answers that support each of these strategic strengths. It's going to tell you why they're strategic skills rather than just personality traits. And it's also going to give you some suggestions for how you can use these strategic strengths more in your current role, as well as letting you know what kind of natural strategist it is that you might be. So I really hope you enjoy using it and that you're pleasantly surprised by what the AI tool shares with you. Because my hope is that by the end of today's exercises, you'll have something incredibly valuable: evidence. evidence that you already have strategic capability. And once you have that evidence, it becomes much easier to build on it and build on your confidence throughout the rest of the week and throughout the rest of this sprint. So I would love to hear how you get on. If you're watching on YouTube, please do leave me a comment below and tell me what one of your strategic strengths are that you identified through doing these exercises. It's always amazing to see comments on the YouTube video, and I promise I will reply to you if you comment on there. Or if you're not on YouTube, but you are getting my emails as part of this sprint, please reply to any of the emails. I always read and try to reply to every single email I receive. Or finally, if you're feeling really brave and you're really enjoying today's activity, why not share a post about it on LinkedIn and tag me in? It would be fabulous to see it. So that brings us to the end of day one. Tomorrow, we're going to build on today's lesson by looking at one of the habits I notice time and time again in strategic HR professionals, which is that they don't just understand HR well, they're naturally curious about the world their organization operates in. And one of the reasons this matters is that it changes the conversations you're able to have. When you understand what's happening in your organization's wider sector, you're so much better placed to ask thoughtful questions, spot risks, and spot opportunities. And then that means you can contribute ideas that help your organization to succeed. Thanks to AI, I'll show you a simple way to build that understanding in just a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed today's activities, and I will see you again tomorrow.